larger, smaller, holographic, all the series of fish skull eyes, all of what Diesel likes to have as well. Um, he's not a lab, but he's a great dog. Hey guys, I'm Lou here at the Goose, and in the series of the saltwater fly tying anyway. The second one I'm going to put it together for you is Lefties Deceiver. Again, one of the quintessential great flies for the flats. Uh, great fly to tie, a lot of fun, and a great fly to fish as well. So let's go get the materials here in the shop, and we'll get this one tied up. I'm going to be using a Gamakatsu SS15, and I'm going to be tying a 2-aught here on the flats on Cape Cod and even in the surf. I go 1-aught, 2-aught. That's about the range of the hooks that I'm going to be using in size. Gamakatsu SS15 is a great hook for this. You could also use the Mustad 3407. It's pretty much the same thing. If you like to utilize lead wire on this fly, go ahead and do it. And when I tie it, I'll show you that where you place that and how much you place it is really up to you. It's completely dependent upon where it is you're fishing, what it is you want the fly to be doing. But I am going to tie on some lead just to show you how it's done. And for that, I'm going to be using 0.2. We have 0.2, 0.25, 0.3 lead, and that'll go in the bin. Thread is chartreuse, 3-aught. You can use mono, as I say often, but 3-aught thread is fine. Chartreuse is a great color. It's going to have a tail, so we want to use either white saddle hackle or schlappen. And I will tell you right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be pulling up some schlappen 5 to 7 inch in white. We've got lots of different colors, but the difference between the hackle feather and the schlappen is really just the difference in, there may be difference of opinion about this, but difference in the dullness or the brightness of one versus the other. But what they do and how they fold into a fly is pretty much the same. So I'm going to be going with the white schlappen. Again, I'm going to be using saltwater flashabou in pearl. You'll see that going in, and crystal flash. I'm going to be using, where's my crystal flash? My crystal flash in pearl, both in pearl. Ties up real nice. My favorite color is white and chartreuse, both of them. So white, and I'm going to use a pastel chartreuse. White bucktail, chartreuse. That's for the belly and the wing for the fly. There's another part of this fly I like putting in, and it's a bit of color for the gill. You can either use calf tail, or you can use something like crystal flash, red. There's just a little bit of color on the 6 o'clock of the hook in the throat. Tying a bit of that, it gives it a nice tinge of gill color, or some people think a wounded baitfish. And for the eyes, I'm going to be using holographic stick-ons. I like, on the size hook I'm using today, the 3D holographic eyes, 1/4 inch. Again, you can see from the selection we've got larger, smaller, holographic, all the series of fish skull eyes, all of what Diesel likes to have as well. Um, he's not a lab, but he's a great dog. So I'm going to be using these guys on the head of the Lefties Deceiver. All right, let's go. Okay, guys, it's Lou here at the Goose, and we're going to be tying another one of the classic and basic flies here, used on the Cape and many places at least on the eastern seaboard, and that's Lefties Deceiver. It's fundamentally bucktail and a bit of a feather hackle, feather or schlappen. Nice to tie, easy to tie, and we'll get started. All right, first things first, I'm using Gamakatsu SS15. Put that in your vise, and then if you want to use, up to you, if you want to use lead on this fly, now's the time to put it in. Some people do, some people don't. It's completely up to you about how much and where you put it, if at all. I like a little bit of lead, not to make it overpowering to cast, but just to get it down on the bottom. So I'm going to use about a midway point on the shank and maybe a quarter of an inch, maybe a little bit more. Of the lead. Just give that a helicopter twist, and best way to take that off. You'd rather, you really shouldn't cut that with pliers, because that would tend to give a sharp edge to the lead, and that could be damaging, if you like, to the effectivity of the fly. It'll come apart. Okay, so then you want to get, I'm going to use chartreuse thread. Again, you can use monofilament, but I like using the chartreuse because my color is going to be chartreuse and white. What we want to do is just tie in some thread and then run it down 2 and over the lead. Get rid of that. Keep that where you want it. And put a little dam, if you like, of thread behind it and in front of it. Okay, and then you want to make it a taper. Just run it through up and down, getting a bit of a taper over the lead. You can see that forming up now. And then bring the thread back down to about the bend in the hook, right about there. Okay. Once you get, we can use saddle hackle feathers here, or schlappen. I mentioned in the material selection video that schlappen it's strong schlappen. It comes off the back of the bird. The hackle normally comes off the neck, but it's a good product to use. I like using schlappen. It's softer. It might not have the brightness and shininess of the hackle feather, but I like the subtlety of it, and it swims really well. And I want to take these guys and I'm going to take three schlappen feathers and get them about twice the size of the hook shank. So there's 1. There's 2, and just peel off the almost marabou-like feathery part of the feather. There's 1. This is all going to get cut anyway, so you don't have to be too worried about getting all of it off the feather. All right, take these guys, and I want to have a little bit of a flare out on them, so tie them or hold them, if you like, together, and they're curve out from each other. That's going to give it a broader profile, which is something I like in this pattern. Let's tie these in right about at the bend in the hook. Cut off the stems. Okay, and then tie that down, secure all that. All right, next thing, I'm going to add a little crystal flash. I'm going to put about 6 strands of crystal flash in there. Again, I like just getting the flash over the thread and then bring it down nicely on top. Take half of them and bring them on one side of the hook and the other half on the other side of the hook and tie it in. Okay. They should run down to about halfway to the end of the feather. All right, now you're going to take a little bit of Flashaboo. I'm going to use 2 strands. And I don't need to go too much more than that. Okay, there's 1. There's 2. I want you to tie in the Flashaboo and then bring your thread forward to about the 2/3 point of the shank, right about there. And then go ahead and just wrap this around and bring it forward. Now, an easy way to do it with rotary vise is just turn the vise, wrap that around the shank, and finish up right about there and tie it in. Okay. Now, back to the old white bucktail. I'll take a small clump. I'm going to take this from the center of the tail. Okay. Clean it, as we've done before. Just hold the ends and pull out the short hairs. And I'm going to make this about halfway the length of the feathers. I'm going to make this sparse. Okay. All right. Turn it over. Take more white bucktail. I'm going to use about half a pencil in thickness of the clump. Same drill, hold the ends, take out the shorties. And right about here in length, I like it to be just about 2/3 of the way down the hackle feathers, the schlappen. Well, let's see what this looks like. We again put it over the shank of the hook, loose, and then bring it up, tighten it. And you want to get this around the shank of the hook before you tighten it up and really secure it. Okay. Wrap, wrap, wrap. You want to get a good head on this. All right. One more clump, and that's going to be bucktail in chartreuse. So bring in a good sized clump here. This is now the top of the bait fish, obviously. And let me get a good piece here. There we go. Same drill, clean it out. Cut it to the same length as that first topside piece of white bucktail we just tied in. And that's going to make it, actually I'm just going to trim a little bit off on this, not very much. All right. I hope this comes out as thick as I want it to, because I'm looking for a little bit of a build up here now. Okay. All right. Secure it, tie it down, build up a nice head. Let's see what we have. All right, looking good. Now, something you can do at this point, it's a good idea, I like it. I'm going to use red calf tail. You can use crystal flash. And basically all you want to do is tie in something that is going to represent the gill of a bait fish. I'm going to take a bit of red kip. Doesn't have to be pretty. It's just going to run down the bottom of the pattern. And finish tying it in. All right. All right, breathe there, whip finish. Ah, come on. And now we're ready for the eyes. I'm using 1/4 inch hairline holographic, 3D holographic eyes, as I showed you yesterday. The 1/4 inch is a good size for this hook. I just want to take one on each side. Make sure you got it in the proper position on the side of the shank, so the guy doesn't look like he's cross-eyed. And take a look at that before you put the resin on. That looks pretty good there, pretty good there. And once that's in place, hit it with the resin. And you want a nice round. I'm going to keep this moving now. Yeah, there we go. Just rotate it around as you hit it with the UV light. And we can add a little bit more once we've got that fixed up. Okay. A little bit on the finer side here. Fill it in against the eye. Get the eyes nicely coated. You want this to be able to last through at least 2 bluefish. two-striped bass. So don't be shy with cementing all this together using a good amount. And there you got a nice round head, good shape to it. There you have it, Lefties Deceiver.